Just yesterday on the social media, someone posted and he asked this question. He said, between the chicken and the egg, which one came first? Is it the chicken or the egg? Because the chicken gives birth to the egg, if you like, right? And then the egg also gives birth to the chicken. Now, which one comes first? This question actually made me to think, to ponder between chicken and egg, which one came first? And it's the same question I want to ask you. Between great leaders and great people, which one comes first? Is it great people that give birth to great leaders, or great leaders lead to great people? Which one comes first? Should we have great people before we have great leaders? Or should we have great leaders before we have great people? Yeah, so but if you don't have the great leaders, then what are you lacking? It means that you don't have the great people, right? Any country that you see they have great leaders is because they have great people. So we always think by changing leaders, by having numerous elections, we are going to have great leaders. But we fail to find the great leaders we aspire to have because we don't have the great people yet. So for me, you need both. For you to have a great nation, you need to have great people and the great leaders. But which one comes first? Which one is easier to have? Is it easier to have great people, or is it much easier to have great leaders? Because you can quickly vote for election and they have great leaders, right? Which one do you think is easier to have? Great people, quicker to have, or the great leaders? Yeah, that's the tricky one. I think you cannot have the great leaders, of course, without the great people, because even in the ballot, it's the same people that will vote for whichever kind of leader is going to emerge. And if they don't have the kind of mindset to decide which one is better for them, and to shun away from sentiment and any kind of monetary motive when it comes to election, then we can have great leaders. So we always blame leaders for our situations, but we don't blame ourselves. We don't look inward and see what are we responsible for. And that's why I want to look at the two sides of the coin. I want to look at a situation where we need the great people and a situation where we need the great leaders. Because we cannot have a great nation without the two. And looking at the side of the great leaders, it comes down to responsible leaders, responsible government. And when I talk about responsibility, I mean sacrifice. There is no responsibility without sacrifice. And what sacrifice are we getting from our leaders? If leaders are not willing to sacrifice, then there will not be great people and there will not be great nation. When we look at our situation in the country, killings, insecurity, kidnapping, poverty, unemployment, all these issues, it's just because investing in politics is more lucrative than investing in business. People that have money, they would rather invest their money in politics than to invest their money in business. When people have 1 billion naira, 300 million naira, the next thing they will be thinking, I want to contest. I want to be senator. I want to be rep. I want to be president. People, if they have money, they don't think of business ideas because we have a lot of money when you get into power. And that is why there is no responsibility, and that's why there is no sacrifice in leadership, because there is too much money attached to that. And they get confused. Are we here to get money or to serve people? That is when people that are not qualified to be anything in this life, they will spend the money they have to preclude others, competent candidates, even contest. How many competent people you knew or you know that are aspiring to contest an election, but they could not win because they don't have the money? And there are other people that are not competent as such because they have the money, they win, or they won, if it is in the past tense. So this is the situation, and if you cannot have these credible people emerging in the electoral process, political system, then we can have the good leaders. And if you cannot have the good leaders, then we cannot have the great people. So to me, it comes down to sacrifice I'm talking about. The sacrifice, we have to see it from the government, especially when we are talking about this kind of democracy we practice in Nigeria. The cost of governance is very, very expensive. We are doing one of the most expensive governance in the world in Nigeria. Because if the government will reduce the wastages and the excesses, we will be saving more than 1 trillion naira every year. Just imagine, from trips, travels by the chief executives, the governors, the senators, the officials, the excesses, the wastages, the allowances, foreign trips. You see how much money is being wasted. If the government will sacrifice from their allowances, from their salaries, from their trips, excessive extravagancy, we will be saving more than 1 trillion naira every year. With that money, we can do infrastructure, we can build factories, we can give young people grants, start businesses, and people become independent financially. And that's how we produce great people. This is the process, from great leadership now to great people. Because great leadership set the frame, set the tune, and create the environment for people to thrive and become great people. So to me, I think the sacrifice is the most important aspect of the leadership that we are talking about. The sacrifice is actually the patriotism, because there is no patriotism without sacrifice. And it's just like this king, there was this king that existed in 16th century. And he was working at night in his house, and he was using this lamp. At that time, there was no electricity. And then he was signing official letters, documents here and there. And then he received a visitor. And as this visitor came in, he welcomed the visitor and asked the visitor to wait. And then he finished signing the document. And he put off this light, this lamp. He offed the lamp and then lit another lamp. And then this visitor asked, is this your norm? This your custom in this town? When you have a visitor, you switch lamp? He said, no. That lamp you saw was the public lamp. It was for this public office. This lamp was fueled by public money. It was fueled from the money from the public treasury. And what I was doing was people's job, signing documents. So it's okay for me to use the public lamp to do public job. But now I'm seeing you as a personal thing. Then I should not use the public lamp for my own personal purpose. So I have my personal lamp that I fuel from my money that I have, then I can use it. Because I don't want to waste people's money. So I need to conserve people's money. You can imagine the kind of patriotism, the sacrifice, the love that leaders should have for people's trust. He does not want to waste people's money by using the public lamp for his personal use. And how many times our leaders are using public funds for their personal benefits, even as more expensive as what we see in the kind of buoyant life our leaders live. Not even a mere fuel in a lamp. You see, this kind of sacrifice is what the followers will see and also do the same. Because patriotism is first done by the leaders. If leaders are not willing to do patriotism, then the followers will not care. We're not going to be patriotic. If our leaders will travel abroad for medical attention, that's not patriotism. Then, me too, I will not be patriotic. If our leaders are not patronizing our local products, why should followers do that? So we have to lead by example. So leadership, public leadership is what leads to the citizen leadership. So we have to have the great leaders before we have the great people. And in the same town where this king was, this king now started engaging in big wars, and the king was killed in a war. But this king has 5 children. The first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And he recently gave birth to the 5th child, the youngest prince in his family. And he handed over this young prince to a nanny and said, this nanny, take this because we are in the period of war. Take care of this child because he also have a child like of his age. This nanny, she also gave birth to a young baby boy. And then the king said, okay, you have a similar age child with my child. Will you take care of my child? And then this nanny started taking care of these 2 children, her child and the prince, the youngest prince. And then the war continued. They went to the first war. The king himself was killed in the war. The first child took over the reign of the kingdom. Another war, this new king was also killed. The second child was also killed. The third child was also killed. And now there are only 2 princes, right, remained. The 4th one and the 5th one, the young baby. And then this 4th one was lucky to win the war. But he had one problem. He had short temper. He's someone that is that you can call emotional time bomb, who has no control of his emotion. And young people, we should learn from that. We should have emotional control. We should have control of our emotions as leaders. Not every time you want to express your anger. Sometimes you delay it, right? So this young king had this short temper, and he had quarrel with his council, and they impeached him, and they imprisoned him. They put him into prison. Who's next? The young baby. He's the only remaining prince, but he was a baby. He was very young. He was, I think, around 6 years, 7 years old. And then the council said, okay, because the late king is not having any adult child, let's invite one of the distant relatives of the king to now be the new king. And then they brought this distant relative and now appointed him as the king. But this one is a tyrant. He started killing people, killing the council members, and he wanted to perpetuate in the power. And he even ordered for the assassination of the fourth prince in the prison. They killed him, and he ordered for the assassination of the young baby prince. Because the night was in the village outcast of the town, and then the news came to her that assassins are coming to kill the young prince. Because she was having two babies, right? Her own child and then the prince. When she heard about that, what she did was, then she woke up the young prince. The two kids were sleeping. She woke up the young prince, changed his dress, because he was dressing like a prince. She changed the prince's dress and dressed him like a poor child and handed him over to a woman and said, hey, woman, take this young prince and take him to a river nearby. I will join you soon. And she dressed her own child like a prince. So she put the prince's dress on her child. When the assassin came, they were looking for the young prince. They asked her, where is the prince? She pointed at her own child. She said, that's the prince sleeping there. They went and killed her son. They thought that was the king. That was the prince. So she was watching how her son was killed in the name of protecting the prince. Because she knew protecting this prince is the only way to protect the kingdom from the tyranny of this tyrant. And she did that to save the people. So she was willing to sacrifice her own child just to protect the prince. And she went to the river, took the prince, and went to a town, and then she trained him, and then he became adult, young, strong man. They came back to the kingdom and took over the kingdom, and the prince led very well. That's the sacrifice the nanny was willing to make to protect the people. Imagine the cost. Then ask yourself, at what cost will you like to save this country? At what cost will you like to protect and improve and develop this country? What are you willing to sacrifice for Nigeria? There is a price beyond which you cannot pay for this country. And what is the maximum cost? What's the maximum price you can pay for this country? Ask yourself. If you cannot pay a steep price for this country, you cannot call yourself patriotic. You can imagine the patriotism, but it comes from the patriotism from the leaders. If we don't trust our leaders, why should we trust this country? Because the trust of the leadership comes first. They have to do their part. You cannot be taxing the populace, the people, the poor people, while you are not taxing yourself. Let the sacrifice come from you. Let us see what you are doing to help the people. So for me, if you want to have a united country, united Nigeria, we have to have the sacrifice, we have to have the patriotism. Patriotism from the leaders, patriotism from the followers. Because that's the only way we can have unity. Because there is a primary cause of disunity, and there is a secondary cause of that. And of course, you can look at it from the contributing factors for unity. The primary cause or factor that leads to unity of this country is fairness, justice. When we have nepotism, injustice, there is no unity. You cannot have unity because the primary cause of unity is justice and fairness. And the secondary cause of unity is things that we can do externally to influence the unity of people. For example, I'm from the north, I'm Hausa, Fulani, and you ask me to now marry from Igbo land or from Yoruba land. You understand? When I marry from Igbo land or Yoruba land, my children are going to be what? Are they going to be Yorubas or Fulani or Hausas? Which? So you see, when my children see a Yoruba person, or if I marry from Igbo, for example, if my child then see an Igbo person, he or she sees a brother or sister. If she sees a Hausa or Fulani, she also sees a brother and sister. So we can have this kind of external harmony by doing intermarriages. But you should give me a grant for doing that. You should sponsor the marriage, okay? Okay, so we can set a national policy and say, okay, if anyone marries from other tribes, from other region, we should give you some incentives to encourage you so that others will consider that. It's not a bad idea, right? And we can also do external influence of this harmony and unity by encouraging ourselves to learn each other's language. One of the recent researches we did, we found out that language brings people closer, create more bond together. Even if we don't practice the same religion, but if we speak the same language, we are likely to bond. We are likely to be together. So let us have a national program where we encourage or even force it for people to learn other languages from other regions. If you're Hausa, you must learn other languages in the south, or Yoruba, or Igbo, any other language out there. Or if you are Igbo, you must learn Fulfulde or Hausa or any other language in the north. That way we can see more differences, more similarities we share. We can communicate, we can connect. Because language is a great connector between people. So if you want to have a harmony and unity in Nigeria, we should encourage that. Before you finish your youth service, NYSC, you should learn Yoruba or Igbo. Before we appoint you as minister, you should learn one of the other languages in Nigeria. Before you even contest an election, right? You can imagine how many people will be struggling to learn local languages. You see people learning a lot of foreign languages, Portuguese, French, Spanish, English, German, Chinese, Russian, but they don't understand Yoruba. They don't understand Igbo. I myself, I'm guilty of that. I always want to learn French. I don't have time for that yet. But I've never thought of, how can I learn Yoruba? How can I learn Igbo? The only thing I know in Igbo is Enemekene. I don't know if there's any Igbo here. I don't know what I'm saying. Maybe I'm saying, how are you? But I can say Ekason, Ekurele. This is in the morning. You say, then tell me. What do you say in the morning? Ekaro, right? But Ekason is in the afternoon, right? Ekurele is at night. So you see, you feel happy I'm speaking your language. So you like me more, you love me more, and that's how we bring love between Nigerians. So true language. So now let's look at it from now the other side of the coin, which is the people. It is not just how many elections you have or how many leaders you change. It is how good and responsible the citizens. Because the most important office in democracy, in politics, is not that of the president. The most important office is the office of the citizen. The office of the citizens. The offices that we are all occupying here. And that is why, if you have to swear in a president, you must swear in the people. Because both, they have responsibilities. The same time you are swearing in the next president and say, I swear, blah, blah, to the end, you should be swearing in the people at the same time. Because we are into this journey together. The president will not succeed without an equivalent commitment and responsibility for the people. So it's two-way thing. So we should have people's inauguration. People will now swear that they will be better citizens. When they come to a traffic light, they will wait for the green light. When they come to the queue, they will join the queue, not bypass it. They promise to never take bribe and do corruption. They promise to always look for other people's success. Not only their own success, how they should be willing to even lose when other people are going to win. That's the kind of sacrifice, the patriotism we want. The people should swear into that and be reminded that they are also responsible. People hands off because they just finished the voting. I'm done. The president will take charge. It's the same journey. We are all responsible for it. To power, I've been a lot of stress and struggle. But sometimes it's not only the president. Yeah, they have a share of blame. But there are sometimes things we could do by ourselves. And that comes down to leadership, taking responsibility of our own lives and steps, making the right decisions for our lives. Because sometimes leaders, young people, we always want to get into the position without even preparing. You want to be elected as leader, you want to be the chairman, you want to be the secretary, you want to contest, but you have not invested in yourself. I even made this remark in my speech recently. I was invited to Kaduna to speak about self-leadership. So I invite you to watch that clip, so I don't want to be repeating that speech. It's on my YouTube channel. You can search for Dr. Ahmed Adamu on YouTube. You see that speech I talk about self-leadership. When young people are asking me, I want to lead. I don't have followers. I've not been elected. I think I have what it takes to be a better leader. But what should I do? I always ask them to go and lead themselves. Go and lead yourself. How do you lead yourself? I task them to manage 6 things. So if you watch this video, you're going to see these 6 things I mentioned in the speech. So we should not just be clamoring for position, we should invest in ourselves. The position will come by itself. You don't have to go for power. The power will come to you. Yeah. Because power is an insect. And insects are always attracted to light. When you see light here, the insect will come. Even when they are not invited, right? So you sit there, invest in yourself, the insect will come to you. So we have to embrace the culture of win-win. Win-win situation is where I see my success in other people's success. We cannot have great people when people are only looking at their own personal gains. That if I'm not winning, no one else should win. If I'm down, everyone should be down. No, 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 no. You can have a great nation with like that. We should be our brothers and sisters keepers. That I see my success in yours. How can I help you succeed? But not a situation of lose-lose. I'm losing, everyone should lose. Or a situation of I win, you lose. Always look for win-win. Even if we come traffic lights, everyone wants to pass first. I should be the one to pass before you. Even on the queue, everyone wants to be on the front. We can have a great people like that. When you look at other countries that have developed so well, because they have this kind of brotherhood and sisterhood, they care about other people's welfare before theirs. And we cannot have a great nation and two great people when we have serious issues of unemployment and poverty, and the government is not doing anything about it. Because you have to empower people for them to be a better people. Some people want to be good people, but because of the serious poverty they have, they are constrained. Sometimes corruptions and bribery is sometimes necessity for some people to be corrupt to survive. They don't like it. And that's why I believe, recently we had a seminar, national workshop on migration. And I discovered one thing. How do we now reduce the unemployment in Nigeria? One way of doing that is through migration. We should empower many Nigerians to leave Nigeria. You want it, right? A lot of Nigerians should leave Nigeria and work out there. Do you know why? What I discovered was that we have a surplus of labor force, especially surplus of informal, or if you like, unskilled labor force. We have a lot of Nigerians who are willing to work harder, but they may not have the right skills. But out there, they have deficits of this kind of labor force. And that is why you see Nigerians paying money for them to be migrated irregularly to other countries to be slaves. Don't you know that? We have illegal migration. People are now traveling through the seas, dying in the seas, just to get across Italy to find a better life. Someone said, I'd rather die in the sea than to live this life I'm living in Nigeria. But they are still needed out there. Even Canada recently advertised that they want more people to come into Canada. Because we had deficiency of labor force, we need people to come in. And now we can give employment and job to 20 million Nigerian youths through migration. Out of 200 million people, we say, okay, 20 million should go abroad. We disperse them across countries. Maybe you say 1 million should go to Germany, 500 should go to maybe UK. And then we spread it across countries. Here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a pool of any interested Nigerian who want to work abroad. Now you apply, you sign up into this pool, we give you training. Now you decide which country do you want to go. Okay, I want to go to Germany. So in this pool, we will train you to learn German language within 1 year. We give you some relative skills that might be needed in Germany. And then we help you get a better placement in Germany through our diplomatic institutions. Our embassy in Germany will now talk to employers in Germany. Here we have laborers. We have a labor force coming from Nigeria. They want to work in your company. They can speak German language. They can do this. Oh, really? And you can pay this amount. We negotiate for their pay. The government will negotiate. And the German people, German employers, we want to take them on. Then we process your visa. We fly you to Germany. You start working in Germany. Who is paying for your wages? The German employer. We created platform for you. When you go there, you get income, you get salary. What do? You remit back to Nigeria. You have relatives, right? International remittance is a good thing. You send to your mother, your father, you help elevate the family to get out of poverty. You are better off. You might invite your next kin next time, right? It's not bad to migrate. Migration is part of human life. You go out and explore opportunity, but if you say everyone had to stay in Nigeria to get all the jobs, where are the jobs? You are not creating equal number of jobs as is demanded. But there are job opportunities out there, but people are still traveling there illegally and suffering and dying in the process. You should make it an organized program to reduce unemployment. 20 million Nigerians will be lifted out of poverty. It's not bad. They even call it brain drain. But do they have opportunity here? You see brilliant people in Nigeria, but they are jobless. But the moment they go out there, you see them getting job and doing very well. You don't blame them. Some people don't want to even come back to Nigeria because they think there is no level playing ground for them here to excel. So migration is a very good program that we can have to support young people to get jobs abroad. And even if you are not able to get it, at least be into this pool, getting this exposure will enable you to be a better person, and then you may get a better job. Then tourism. I recently went to Senegal for a training, and we were all amazed by the kind of tourist attraction they created for their country. We are all amazed by the kind of tourist attraction they set for their country. And we all have these potentials. And what amazed me the most was we see young people creating companies as tourist companies, helping tourists to move around the Senegal, to see Goli Island, to see all these amazing recreational centers and mountains and towers and monuments in Senegal. And when I see young people, I ask them, what do you do? He said, I have a company. And we help tourists move around. And they get paid for that. You see, that's how you create business in tourism. Now, why is the tourist attractions here? In Abuja, for example. People come to Abuja, the only thing they do, they sleep in Transcorp Hilton or Sheraton and go back. Right? There is no tourism in Nigeria. Well, even let's look at mining. Mining is another area where we can help young people get jobs. Mining, oil and gas has given job to a lot of people and income to Nigeria. Cement mining has given jobs to a lot of Nigerians. What if we start mining other minerals we have? How many jobs are we going to create? Especially gold mining. We can make that organized, systematic. The same way we have policy for oil and gas mining, we can have policy for gold mining. And then when it comes to fixing corruption, we can create jobs through corruption. Because corruption can create jobs. What we need to do is, any corrupt person you catch, don't put that person into prison. What you need to do is sit down with this person and say, how much did you steal? Okay, I stole 1 billion. Okay, I'm not going to put you into prison. I'm not going to do anything. Just bring this 1 billion. Open a company. Open a factory in your village or in your state or even anywhere in Nigeria where it's suitable. Open this factory and spend this 1 billion and employ labor. Employ young people. Even Obama said, that's brilliant. Yeah, because what you are doing, when you are chasing them, they keep running away, and you don't get the money. You keep trying them in court. How many years? Change of government, you are not going to hear the case again. They bribe the judges, they bribe the lawyers, and you're not going to hear anything. And they will keep hiding the money under their beds or in their sockaways. But encourage them, okay, it's okay, we understand why you stole. Now bring it, let's help. But if you refuse to bring it back, we will deal with you. Are you thinking twice? Yeah, so through corruption, it comes down to policies and programs of the government. And that's why we cannot overemphasize the importance of credible leadership. Credible leadership is not just having the leader that have this kind of popularity, but having the programs, the ideas, to fix these issues that we are talking about. And then lastly, for us to have a great nation and great people, especially within the context of Nigeria at the moment, we have to have a policy that's called population management. Population management is a key thing because our population has to grow proportionate to our resources. Because if our population outgrow our resources, we are going to have deficits, inefficiencies. We are going to have desperation and frustration, and this leads to insecurity. All these people that you see are doing kidnapping and killing, yes, because they want money. They want money to do what? Someone was involved in kidnapping case just to have 500,000 naira to start frying yam and chips on the street. He was caught. Okay, are you the one who brought these victims? Yes, he said yes. Why? Because they promised to give me 500,000 naira. What do you want to do with it? He said, Zambuda wouldn't suyang mesunayama dausa doya. Wouldn't suyang doya. Don't laugh at me. Okay. You see, he just wants to start a small business, and no one has supported him. And that's why he's involved in kidnapping. How many more people like him? He said he wants to buy this motorcycle and be receiving money daily. He wanted to do industrial productive things with it. Now, because there was no policy, no program for him to support him. Because the government might be doing something to support people like this, but there are many, many of them. Even when you look at the educational sector, the demand for education has outgrown the supply for education. If you look at healthcare, the demand for healthcare has outgrown the provision for the health facilities. So what you see is overgrowth of population and undersupply of the resources. So you have to be reducing the population and increasing the resources up to a point that is going to be a match. And that is the time that you start expanding. But which one do you expand first? You expand the resources before you expand the population. So this national policy on population management is to match the Nigerian population to its resources, and then step down these targets to cities, to towns, to families, to households, even to a limit where we set the number of family size based on family income. Yeah, she agreed? Because child that grows up in a family that is taken care of educationally, health-wise, shown love, that person is likely to be a better person, get quality education. But when you have people who are frustrated, they don't have the knowledge, the modern and the religious knowledge, they don't even know killing people is bad. It all comes down to leadership. And ladies and gentlemen, with this, you know that the chicken came first before the egg. And that is, in our contest here, which one is the chicken and which one is the egg? The chicken is the leader. The egg is the people. So for me, we need credible leaders to help us get the credible people. And the mixture of these two will lead us to have a better country. Thank you so much, and thank you for your attention.